are you? Okay. Am I working? Is this working? Hey! Hi! Hi everyone, thank you for joining. What day is it even today? Is it Tuesday or let me check the calendar. Wow, it's a Tuesday indeed. It's almost end of 2021. I think we have 2 more months left here. Hi Justin, hi Florine, hi Acer, as I say. Hi guys, good to see you. Long time no see, it's been a while, isn't it? I've been traveling a bit. I was actually in Utah. That was my first time to going to the state of Utah, and I was in the city at this thing called the Salt Lake City. I have been started to working with a underground Operation Underground Railroad. I don't know how many of you know Tim Ballard. So it was an amazing trip, and I really totally fell in love with the the state, Utah. So I know I'm like trying to praying everything I can do somehow I can move out of Chicago someday. But that was amazing to see, how big America is and how, variety, so much diversity in America, even same the country. By the way, guys, can you hear me okay? I'm trying out the new microphone, so I'm not quite sure how this thing is working. So anyway, so today's topic is, as you can see, my thoughts on the future of America, and I also look forward to really hearing your opinions and your questions. This is something that I've been thinking a lot lately because this is a really humbling point for me too. And, some days I wake up and it's truly scary that I feel like I'm fighting for freedom in America. Like never ever I thought when I was crossing the desert and coming to America that I had to fight for freedom in America. It just never occurred to me. I thought America was this land of the free. I never thought I was going to battle with this big tag and trying to have a voice and trying to tell the world why it matters to have a diversity of thoughts. And I used to think that America was a marketplace for ideas, and it's not anymore, right? And so it gives me like this panicking moment where like, oh my God, what I'm gonna do? Where I'm gonna take my son? Like if America falls, that's it. Like I never wanted to imagine a world without America. And I think this is a topic that I want to talk with you today. And as much as now I have heard great things about America, horrible things about America, it doesn't matter if you're British or like Norwegian or Asian, America is it's not like I'm not even American yet, but today I was really thinking about what does this country mean for me as a person, not just as a country, but what would that be and what would the future be? And I wanted to really know that your thoughts on where do you think we are going to, and is this some kind of phase? Everybody say it's on the spectrum. Maybe we are really pushing towards the left right now, but it's usually gonna come back to the middle. Or is this really significant fundamental change that we are going through? And so that's why I really wanted to open this chat and really discuss with you. So here, Oscar, first question. Goodness, Canada will launch a pilot program to accept North Korean refugees. Please search Han Voice Canada and CTV News. Canada, North Koreans. Amazing. Yeah, that's great. I know it used to be very hard to go to Canada as a North Korean defector. And this is the thing, like even though right now, guys, looking at the southern border crisis in America, and even like affirmative action, there are a lot of people, like especially on the Democrats, say, oh, you have no heart. What do you mean we are building a wall? We should not build a wall. We should let all these people come who are suffering, who are facing gang violence, who are facing corruption, right? And then what if you are physically so far away from America that your only option is standing in the line and coming through the legal channel? that means opening the southern border does not mean a justice for every refugee in this world, right? Guys, think about it. Somebody in Sudan, in North Korea right now too, like in South Korea, all this North Korean defector in China, all of them wanted to come to America because this is the land of the free. This is the best country that we've ever seen. And these people, the only way they can come is because they are so far away, they have to be standing in the line and following the legal channel. But now that we are like flooding American immigration system with the southern border and people from South America and Central America, there is no equity here. So this is the thing, like why sometimes equity is applicable and all these social justice warriors campaigning for it. But when it comes to all these like refugees in Africa, what about them? Why do we not just open up some sky channel to them and they can just flood here too? Why do we not do that? Why do we just send them all these jets and make them all come here? Why are we just only allowing the southern border open and these people when they come throughout illegal channel, right? Just jumping off the fences. That's okay, but why can we not? I had to come to America legal way in a long paper process with many lawyers, many letters, so many interviews I had to do come to America. This is the same thing with affirmative action, right? All these people saying, oh, all about these people had gone through oppression and hard time and racial equity, whatever this thing is. What about all those left people at Harvard or Columbia or Stanford? They give their seat to somebody and not asking a lot of competent people, especially right now, Asian population in America. Not asking us giving our seats, but you give, like those left people give their seat, right? They don't do that. They keep asking other ways to sacrifice their seats because they want to be equitable. They want a virtue signal. And this is why I think like the future of America is so concerning, that people, these complete hypocrites are running this country and twisting the reality and truth. Anyway, so let's answer more questions. I think I just missed this question. So Uber story, so say Among Us or Big Cringe. I'm not sure what that means. What is the Among Us? Somebody gotta educate me. So many things I don't know. Anyway, so DTH Rocket. So cancel culture is getting more extreme. I may lose my job for sticking to my conscience. God bless Yeonmi, and may North Korean people be free. Thank you so much. It is a thing. What on earth that government is mandating what we put our body in? As much I don't want to be cancelled here, right? Like, it is unthinkable right now. It's not constitutional. Like, I'm not even this like constitutional like expert. No government have that authority to forcing individual to do certain things. What happened to all those people saying my body, my choice? And in Chicago, guys, right now, crime is high rocketing. Like literally, someone that I knew in Chicago, they were dining in downtown Chicago, and then there was somebody like a gang was shooting in the restaurant. Right, a lot of people got injured. So many people getting killed every weekend in Chicago. And then police is saying they are not gonna come to the work because they're the mandate. So who's suffering because of this? Not the people in the DC have a private, security firms to protecting them, but because like the people who have to be on the street, have to go to work, who have to take a bus, going to downtown, who have to have a job, who have to like send their child to school, like these kind of people affected by not having rule of law, not having law enforcement. And the people having so much their own private security, deciding what is right for all of us, and no wonder why we are ending up this like madness right now. And I began the channel last year, guys, thinking I was trying to fight for my North Korean people, right? I was trying to fight freedom in North Korea. I mean, that's what I've been spending my life on. I was risking my life to free the North Korean people. Now I'm literally thinking, where America is falling too. And if America falls, I don't think as a humanity we are gonna ever have a chance to be free as individuals ever again. It is America's last chance that we can ever be free as individuals. And I don't know why people are not realizing this. Dr. DMT again, just do you think the vaccine passport will turn into a social credit system? I mean, it is already a social credit system. It's not turning into, right? Like, I'm in Chicago, I go to New York too for a lot of meetings. Without the passport, and without the card and your ID, you cannot go inside a restaurant and eat, right? That's like eating in the restaurant. You cannot go and eat. And in China, right, like if you have the low social credit system, it affects you buying a ticket, airplane ticket, buying a train ticket to go see your family members. Well, in a way, eating is more basic, fundamental than that. And as a North Korean, it's so absurd to the point. It's just I laugh at it because you can do the mail-in ballots. You can vote for who's gonna be your leader of the country without showing your ID and being in their person as a present. But you cannot do that. I mean, you need to have your physical ID and you show your face and your vaccine card to eat at a restaurant. If that's not a police state, what is that, right? Like, I'm sure like a lot of you have not lived in the police state, so I don't think you know what that is. I mean, maybe that's the reason why people are not panicking. That's the definition of police state, that you need to present the ID when you dine in. And that's where we are at right now. And like, the funniest thing is, it's not like I'm denial of this virus. This is a real thing. This is a real pandemic. And it really took a lot of lives. I agree, I admit that. But the funniest thing is, I told you about that story. Like, I was at the restaurant. There's like 2 meters from the counter to sit in the restaurant. And she said, I didn't have my mask on. She said, you cannot go enter sitting in your table because you don't have mask on. So, well, how about I use my cardigan to wrap myself? I said, no, you cannot do that. You have to have a mask. And actually, a friend of mine said, how about I just don't breathe? Can I stop breathing? And I said, no, you have to have a mask. So somehow, when I'm walking that 2 meters, virus can travel. Even though I don't breathe, I wrap myself with a cardigan. But when I sit down in the restaurant and then I take it off and talk and drink, it somehow doesn't travel, right? Like, and the fact that I cannot question this science, isn't it funny to you guys? Like, this is so funny. Like, I don't even have a science major, but this is so funny. And people buying it in this 21st century, people have so much education in America, are buying this and obeying to this, complying with this ridiculous law, right? If you are gonna really somehow mandating something, it's gotta be effective. But at this point, it's almost like training your puppy, like training your like obedience at this point. And this is why, and then the fact that guys, like whenever I try to talk about this topic, every day I get on YouTube and talk about it every time, and I give a speech. I always have a risk of losing everything. And this is like insane. Like, I play this in my mind like multiple times, and I keep checking on the list what you cannot talk about, what gets you canceled, what gets you lose your like shadow ban, you lose your account, right? I'm already shadow banned in Instagram. I'm like already censored all these platforms, and a lot of us right now I'm like enemy of the walk. This is not only me, like it's a lot of livelihood people putting into. But not only that, in America I can go trash cans, I can survive. But then how people access to different perspective, right? How do we do that? And that's why I just think that future of America is coming to this. It is really coming to republic. Freedom cannot survive when individuals do not defend it. And now we see that a lot of people have stopped defending freedom of speech, have stopped defending for republic that we have in this country. That's why we are losing it. And the only way that republic and freedom can work is when individuals take a stance and defend their rights and defend the fundamentals of this country. And that's why it's time for us, instead of us panicking, are we losing this country? Are we losing our freedom? But are we defending our rights? Are we defending our freedom? And that's why, despite all that accusations and risk, we need to have take that chance and get that courage up, and then defending your rights from now on. And I cannot see any other way other than that. And being free used to be, right, meant you needed courage, but because America was such a great country, whenever you had different thoughts, it was not such a courageous thing. But now you see, this being a dissident means something, right? When you're being a dissident in China, in Hong Kong, in North Korea, in like Russia right now, so many countries does not have a free democracy. Being a dissident, you literally risk something. And of course, in America, when we become a dissident in this age of when America is run by crazy left, and we are risking lose our jobs and reputation and a lot of things, but it hasn't come to losing our life yet. And that's why we still have some time. We still have some time to push back. We still have some time to make that stance. I mean, so many people say, oh, if I were alive when the slavery was legal in America, I would be the first person to, free them. If I were alive when the Jewish people were dying in the gas chamber, when Anna Frank was writing that diary and she was dying in the gas chamber, I would be the first one to go there and free them. But no, right now their modern day slaves are being raped and sold and killed and tortured. Their organs are harvested in China and North Korea. Who are these people saying that condemning slavery? How are these people are not standing up for this exact same crime that is happening? And why are you not standing up for this exact inhumanity of this crime against humanity happening and not doing anything about it? So let me answer more questions, guys. When was the last question that I stopped? Oh, wow. So please don't blame me if I lose a lot of questions. So the physicality channel. So I grew up in USSR and made similar statements, such as if we had American dog food, we'd find a way to use it for people. And in a starving country, nobody cares about LGBT or even to help a stranger. I know, I went to a mall yesterday and looking at this dog toys and gums and their winter jackets, and I was like, being a dog in America, guys, billion times better than being a human being in North Korea. You have no idea that what it means to be a human being, what it means to be a human in other countries right now in this 21st century. And also what upsets me is Americans, a lot of this in the left think that, because somehow they got this prosperity from where? They got it. I mean, nobody gave them to him because of free market. The people who believed in freedom and free market, that's how we created this prosperity. Not because the Americans were somehow special people, made all these things happen, right? And that's the thing, talking about privilege. Talking about the privilege, we should definitely talk about living in a free world. That privilege is unthinkable. And it's not I'm coming from a bitter perspective, that I just really want people to understand why they got this much rights, why they got this much prosperity. Not because they are great, because somebody came before them, paid the price for that freedom. And looking at these people have a zero appreciation for the fathers and mothers came before us. They are stepping on the shoulders of these mothers and fathers' sacrifice and criticizing them and judging them and telling them they're bigots and telling them they're racist. They have no idea. I mean, what about them right now, living in this age where buying a Nike shoes and watching this Hollywood movie, these people are getting money from these criminals committing a genocide. They are committing exact same thing and even worse. Back then, slavery was commonly accepted everywhere in this world. Slavery was not exceptional. It was a common sense. And you are judging them right now. And right now, slavery is exceptional. It's not a common sense. We don't accept that. It's universally banned. And you're still sponsoring and keeping silence about those and still condemning those ancestors who paid so much price for us to have this freedom. And I am immensely grateful for the founding fathers of America, because without America, if America wasn't free, when I escaped North Korea, guys, where would I go? Right? I didn't go to somewhere after North Korea. I went to China. What happened to me? I was sexually enslaved. I was raped at 13. So when I came to America, this country gave me freedom. So and of course America have flaws. That's not what I'm not saying. Like, of course every country have flaws. But given how much this country has been progressed, it deserves every credit that we can give. And the fact that we are not condemning China for whatever they are doing, and the amount that we're condemning the US for their problems, it's nonsensical. And so, May, good to see you. So, do North Koreans study foreign language in schools or universities? For example, Chinese or Russian? Did they study Russian when Soviet Union existed? That was a good question. Yes, they do study Russian when they were in school. And some schools, elite schools, do teach English, but they don't teach American English because they hate America. They teach British English instead. But most of kids cannot really afford to go to school, so most of us don't even have seen the map of the world, right? We are really not educated. But the elites do get that best education you can imagine. So here. Guys, sorry, my speed is so late when it comes to answering questions. So I have made a hobby of arguing with the Jute communists on your social media. Hundreds of comments talking a lot. Would you encourage or discouraging this? Interesting. I mean, the fact that I'm okay with the people, of course my feelings get hurt, guys, right? I'm not a robot. And this is a thing, like, your feelings do get hurt, even though they are not literally beating me down in person, but they are beating me down and killing my character and killing my dignity as a person online. It is some kind of harassment. But does that mean I want them to be not having a right to complain? It's no, right? Democracy means right to complain. So if the left has a right to complain about the slavery and capitalism, why the heck conservatives cannot have the right to complain about the left? So this is my problem. Like, I want people to complain. I want people to have different ideas. I want people to have a different perspective. That's what I'm fighting for. I'm not fighting for nobody need to complain and nobody should not hurt anybody's feelings. And at the end of the day, feeling somebody's hurtings is the minimal damage you can do, because real life is so hard. Like, there are so many people physically harmed me. Somebody harming my feelings is the last thing that I am concerning about. Like, I'm literally having a threat being killed physically by Kim Jong-un, right? And I've been reading Steven Pinker's Enlightenment lately. It's fascinating what enlightenment meant. It's there to understand. There to understand user logic and our rationality. And in this age of cancel culture in America, you don't have enlightenment. Enlightenment brought us here, made us to understand what humans deserve, what human rights is. Enlightenment made understand what democracy meant, that how the humans are deserve to be free, right? And then nobody should be enslaved. Enlightenment gave a birth to all these amazing conventions that we have. When we were born, we did not just know that what human rights were, right? That's why North Koreans don't know what human rights were. It comes from enlightenment. And the exact culture that we have in America right now from the left is killing that enlightenment. They are not letting us to understand what's going on. And I think that's why it's okay to us engage in whatever topic that is. And we should search for the truth. And for me, is that no matter what, truth will win. We have nothing to fear. So Kenzen's okay, so if I understand, it's my right to argue with them, and it's not a problem. I use your presence to find these people to challenge their ideas. Absolutely. I mean, But at this point is that America is so like now is like polarized. This politics is so polarizing people. It saddens me that whenever I wake up in America and calling each other their enemies of themselves, and actually our enemies is CCP. Our enemies is not within in America, but now we are recognizing us as Americans together in this country as enemies. And that is something that I did not expect to see. And I have lived in South Korea for short periods, and they do have also Democratic and Republicans, right? They have two big party system. They're still very united under the idea of Korea. But it's so unbelievable in America that a left think their enemy is the U.S. Constitution, right? Literally 4 years me sitting at Columbia classroom, they are telling me our enemy is the U.S. Constitution. Our enemy is this country called the USA. And the only way we can solve our oppression and problems is tearing down the U.S. Constitution. So that's why I now understand why my enemy became the left, because I cannot tolerate people saying that their goal is tearing down the greatest country in human history. Like, what kind of a logic is that? Like, well, we do have problems, then let's fix that problem within the system. This American system is so flexible enough to fix whatever thing it has internally wrong or something, right? We emancipated slaves. This country has done so much progress. And then they say the only way we can solve this problem is tearing down this country. And of course, then why the enemies of the left became the conservatives? Because of someone like me saying, I want to conserve this country. I want to conserve the values of liberty and the fundamental rights for human beings and dignity, right? And that's why I can see that why, logically, it only makes sense why the Americans are now in this political spectrum finding each other as their main enemies, because their ideology is so fundamentally colliding. It's just they cannot find any common ground. How do you find a common ground with somebody? Only my problem is tearing you down, and the other person's like, my problem is like keeping you alive. And I don't know how to reconcile these two difference. Like, how are we able to seeing like a problem in this different perspective? And another thing is, bizarre thing is, they are telling me, to a North Korean defector, that I'm a racist. And I have a zero drop of a white blood in my vein. I was a slave myself. My ancestors never ever owned a slave. And they are calling me a racist. And that's how I know that left is so gone unbelievably crazy that they lost every common sense at this point. Shooter, so down under Yeonmi, I really admire your work and your courage. You talk about how China is using North Korea, but what about Russia? Can you tell us the role that Russia plays in the North Korean regime? So that's a good question. I don't know, like, if Russia is internally struggling, their economy is shrinking, and they have a lot of problems. So Soviet Union had a significant impact in North Korea, right? Stalin designed North Korea now. But when they collapsed, their role on North Korean regime survivor is very tiny, minimal. Like 100% is coming from China influence right now. And that's why I really don't focusing on Russia, because just Russia has so much their own problems internally. And people are suffering in Russia. We know that the dissidents get poisoned by Putin. Like, in not any way I'm defending Russia at all. But Russia cannot really afford to intervene with North Korea right now, because so much going on within themselves right now. So Cheap Marona, so you're the best in me, stay strong, God bless. God bless you too. So James, I'm so glad you're speaking out for the U.S. true values and constitution. Things weren't this polarized even 10 years ago. And that's why, guys, we need to fight. Like, we need to stand up for what we believe in. Like if we believe that government has no right to tell us what to do with our bodies and what to do, what we can put on our face or not, then we need to stand up for that. And it comes down to that. Like I don't think that federal governments should have a right to decide what every American should do with their bodies. It's individual choice. That's what freedom means. And you can call me I'm a crazy person, but that's what only people in China and North Korean regime would do. In free country, we don't do that. And that's why I think that it doesn't matter where we are going towards right now in America. We might be collapsing. We might be okay. It's just somehow a spectrum. We're gonna push back to the mirror at some point, right? Whatever that means, what we have to do right now is do not be afraid. Speak up your values. Take the chances. Take that risk. And if all of us who believe in freedom gonna do that, they cannot push us all around, right? That's a thing. That's a rule. Like, and so what if even if they are able to, what a glorious life that you defended the idea of what humans are deserving, right? And that's a meaningful life. And that's how I reconcile myself with like this daily threat of being cancer and daily threat of losing everything that I have right now. It's kind of, you know, I used to think when I read Animal Farm, why it had so much impact on reading the George Orwell's Animal Farm. Not because it taught me how the dictatorship worked, right? They manipulate the truth, that they delete the history, they brainwash people, and not because of that. When I was reading the Animal Farm, what I learned was thinking about my great-grandma or my grandma, like who I saw when I was in North Korea. That's the time when Kim Il-sung came and told them, oh, I promise you a paradise. Nobody gonna suffer, free healthcare, free education, there's no inequality, everything gonna be wonderful, everything gonna be okay. And my grandma knew the regime was not delivering it. They were purging people, they are executing people, they are oppressing people. But because they were scared for their life, they were scared for their children's life, they kept it silent. So when it came to me, I did not know even that I was oppressed. I did not even know that I was living in this most unique hermit kingdom in this in this 21st century, right? So what made me to understand was just the price of silence of good people. That's what alarmed me the most. And then when I thought about it, if Animal Farm happens in my lifetime when I was living in South Korea, would I stand up? Would I risk my life and then challenge the status quo? Would I challenge the normal, like, you know, whatever the like at the conventional truth at the time? And I thought so when I was reading Animal Farm at 17 in South Korea. I was so idealistic. I thought, well, I'm sure I would do the brave thing. I'm sure I would not let these bigots and these evil people killing innocent people, right? I wouldn't do that. Now I feel like it came to me right now living in America. It's actually testing our actual belief. It is testing actual what we believe in. Was that just a theory in our head? We are thinking we're gonna standing up for that something noble, or was it just another hypocrite? I think I would be a hero if a genocide happens. I'm gonna free them, but it happens in front of me. I'm gonna keeping a silent. And this is why I'm asking you to join me. That I really hope that you speak up now at your workplace. You speak up wherever you are, wherever you can, and challenge the status quo. That government knows better than us. No, they don't know better than anybody. Like, I don't even know what's good for me in 10 years, even in right now. How the heck government knows what's best for me and they're gonna make a decision for me, my body, my future, right? Like, that's the thing. These people, governments are like collection of these bureaucrats. Their only interest is keeping their power, their status quo, getting re-elected. That's their own interest, right? I don't blame them. Like, we are acting for our interest. And that's what it should be. That's why free market is beautiful. When the capitalism, when the people, when the vendors and traders acting on their half of their own interest, everybody wins. But the thing is, the fact that they are gonna represent my best interest, somebody in the Congress who never met me, who does not know my history, who does not know my challenges, knows what's good for me, and then I'm gonna give all my rights to them and they're gonna make the decision for me? Like, no way. And nothing we should fear more than governments. In my experience, nothing has been worse than government has been. Like, look at Nazi Germany, look at Stalin, look at Mao China, look at CCP Korean, look at North Korean regime, look at even Soviet Union. What has been worse than the government to the individual freedom? Nothing. So why do we believe in government right now in the USA? Like, the USA is the only country. Being a patriot doesn't mean that you are pledging your alliance to your own government. We are pledging our alliance to our God, to individual liberty, to our ideas, to our constitution. Nothing to do with anybody who is being a president in the USA. It doesn't matter it's Biden, it doesn't matter it's Trump. That's not why I'm a patriot in this country. And that's why this is like why we need education to our children. They think that, anyway guys, let me answer more questions. I'm getting too excited today because I've been just so horrified seeing Chicago crumbling in front of my eyes, seeing my friends getting shot while dining out in like restaurants, seeing children get shot in Chicago and being murdered, being stabbed. And there's nothing coming, there's no rule of law anymore. And where do you find that if the government is not doing their job right now? Their job is brainwashing, indoctrinating people, dividing us. And the only people who win through this division is politicians. They thrive when people are being divided. I don't want to be a divider. I don't want to divide people. Like, that's why I'm like, I want people whoever they are, Marxists, Maoists, come to me and listen to me, right? I need all of those people. So Nikolai, the government cannot tell you what to do with your body. Then please explain the abortion bans from right-wing politicians. They literally own a woman's body now in Texas. That's a great question. I'm so glad that you tell me that, right? I've been following that. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys today in this, we don't have a lot of times, but why? Governments should not tell you what to do. And this to me is at this point, I'm more going, guys, I am not like full crazy libertarian, does not believe in borders, does not believe in military. I still believe there is a limited role that governments can play. And I'm not an expert on this, not at all. I do think we still need a government, and because we need a defense, we need a borders, we need some kind of regulation, and we cannot go in detail what those are. But when it comes to Texas abortion ban, it is called 6 weeks, right? And it is not a federal law. It's not in every state we are having this law. That's what Texas came up with. And if you don't like that, America, you have a freedom of movement to come to Florida, come to California, come to Illinois, guys. They like want you to get an abortion in Illinois. Like in Chicago, they want you to get abortion almost. So come to Chicago. You're gonna have no problem getting abortion in Chicago. And so that's why you are still having that freedom in America in general. But in Texas, that's a Texas law, like right now they came up with. And why abortion is a very sensitive topic, and I know I might change my mind in the future, and because it's also why, because I'm a thinker, I should be evolving. My thinking should be getting better over time, and I should know more truth, right? So I'm sure somebody gonna hold this against me 20 years later, like this is what you said 20 years ago. But I'm gonna, for the full context, I don't know the full truth and I might not change it, but for my position right now is that abortion is dealing with a baby's life, guys. It's not something else. It's not some like shot. It's not a vaccine. It's literally a human life that has a heartbeat. I have a son. I did IVF. I had a lot of malnutrition. I couldn't get pregnant easily. I had 3 IVFs. And when I had my child, at 5 weeks and 3 days, not just not normal sonogram, but vaginal sonogram can detect the heartbeat. So I heard my son's heartbeat at 5 weeks and 3 days. I have still pictures of him, and that's when I heard my baby's heartbeat. So when people say that babies are like 6 weeks old is not a human being, doesn't have a heart, that's a lie. There is a heartbeat. It's hard to detect. For sure, that is very true. It's hard to detect. You gotta do the vaginal sonogram. That's how you can hear it. But it is right there. And I'm not gonna even bring the like religious argument. And a lot of people like anti-abortion or pro-abortion people pro-abortion people especially bringing up about, oh, what about the women getting raped and getting pregnant, right? I am fully sympathizing that, guys. I have gone through rape, but I also know that pregnancy just doesn't happen by one rape. I'm a rape survivor. I've been raped many times. It doesn't happen when you get raped once. Getting pregnant is not that easy, actually. There's only one cycle, one egg that women have once a month. It's hard to get, not that easy to get pregnant. So if you are living in America, that's your responsibility. You can get IUD. It doesn't even cost that much money. It's a lot of times it's free. If you can go to Planned Parenthood, they give you the free pills. They give you the free contraceptive devices. So if you are living in this free, enlightened, democratic country, and you can do at least that to prevent not killing an innocent infant fetus like life, right? I mean, what else do we put that? But I get that there are people who is going to be raped. Very, very rare chance going to happen. But then they have a right to go to different states, because we have 15 states in America, and Texas is only the one that has that. And this is my position right now. Like, I do think we need to promote that self-responsibility of us not getting into that trouble, and we need to using those so readily available devices to prevent us getting into pregnancy. And you gotta be responsible if you're sexually active. The last thing you can do is paying attention to your period. And then when this is such a minimum thing you can do to prevent that. And I know even the IUD has like a 99 chance of not getting pregnant by 1 chance, but if that happens, then there's other states, right? And I think that's why each state has a different law. Like California has a different regulations, and Florida has different regulations. And that's why I don't want. But this thing is that you are asking is a very fundamental different thing than vaccine mandate, because a vaccine mandate is what the federal government is determining for all 50 different states. And Texas abortion ban is only one state we are talking about. So I don't think they are even related, but at least that's what I think currently about abortion, and why the federal government should never make that kind of universal law for all of us, and why we need to promote some like self-discipline and responsibility to do this kind of minimum things. When you're living this much prosperity, guys, that's the last thing you can do to prevent that kind of tragedy of a fetus's life, isn't it? It's so sad, like how people became so lazy, and I don't know even where to begin. Like, if this is happening in Philippines and Thailand, where there's a sex trafficking and people cannot afford to go into Planned Parenthood to get the pills and the IUD devices, I wouldn't even talk about this. This is something last thing I want to talk about, because there's so much bigger issues that we are facing. There's a literally genocide happening in North Korea and China. But at least, that's the thing what people care about in America. So I hope that anyway, so Julian, so if a woman can unilaterally abort a man, should able to bypass child support. The women are held to a lower standard here. Lower standards are held for those you do not respect. Personal life should be respected. So sorry, I'm having a hard time. Can literally abort a man, should be able to bypass child support. The women are. Sorry, I will come back to the question. I will make so sorry about Julian. I'm having a hard time to understand, but okay, man. So how much do you know about the situation in South SSP? Some people talk about the fight between Xi Jinping and supporters of Jiang Zemin. I mean, I really don't know. I hear a lot about. I talk to China, in China Censored, and I watch their channels. I read a lot of books, but the thing is, it's a so far what I've been seeing is I think Xi Jinping is becoming a Mao, right? He's indoctrinating children to worship him. He's gonna be a forever leader. He changed their constitution, and this is the perfect classic example why absolute power corrupts absolutely. Is that even though Communist Party, Chinese Communist Party was saying, oh, we are all for our China nationalism, we wanna serve our people, and they were pledging not to take the Mao step, and they were a little bit still like a little bit meritocracy. They were picking the communist leaders and going around and picking their leaders, right? But when it came to see, no, he changed it all, and that's why I keep saying why we cannot give that much power to governments, because they're gonna only thing they want is gaining more power and maintaining that power and like staying like North Korean regime. So I know, guys, that was a quick discussion. It comes to the same thing again. I keep saying that it doesn't matter what is the future of America is. Even if we passing this period of testing our characters, testing our endurance of democracy and our principles, it doesn't matter even if we are gonna be collapsed and we lose our freedom. The only thing that matters is what we are gonna do today about what we are having, what we are facing, which means we standing up for our beliefs, right? Like this is the first time kind of that Americans are for the first time faced that do you actually believe it? And what does that mean, do you believe it? If the Nazis came and trying to capture Jewish people, were you the person to defend them? And this is my crime too. When Twitter and Facebook and Google all they came for Trump, right? They banned him. While Taliban, North Korean regime, and China, all these people can have accounts on Twitter and Facebook accounts. When they kicked out our sitting president out of the Twitter, I was thinking, well, I mean, that was just Trump. They're not gonna come for me. They came for other people. I said, okay, well, they went for them, but they're gonna not come for a dark skin defector. I'm a person of color. I'm a woman. I'm a sexual, like I'm a rape survivor. I'm meeting all their victim parity. Why would they go for a dark skin defector? And they came for me. So you think it's not gonna come for you, right? It's gonna come for you too. It's gonna come for all of us. If we are letting this cancel culture grow and keep poisoning us, our society. I really don't know if that was my last live on YouTube or YouTube is gonna still give me a chance to be staying in this platform. Fingers crossed. Please pray for me. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm truly sorry that I couldn't answer all your questions today. I'm truly grateful for your support. Please join my Patreon and Locals today. And the exciting news that Locals actually merged with the Rumble. So we are gonna get to see more exciting things in this free movement. And I'm not sure what was a Trump social media thing came out, but I think it came out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. We need to stick with each other. We need to support each other. And that is the only way we can survive this tumultuous time in America right now. Because nobody can do this any revolution by themselves. That's why I need you and we all need each other. Bless you guys. And even though you disagree with me, I'm grateful you stayed here. You're able to hear different perspective, and that's what I'm actually promoting. I'm not in any sense I'm right in anything, and I can be wrong in everything, and that's okay. But we have a right to express what we're thinking. We have a right to think out loud. So thank you for participating in this discussion, guys. I will see you next time. Love you. Bye, guys. Bye, bye. Love you.